Okay, time for another video. But this one is going to be slightly different. Okay, I've been on and off homeless on the street for about 2 years now. Okay, and with this whole COVID-19 and the economy imploding, I foresee a lot of homeless in the future. Not just because they have mental issues or substance abuse problems like drugs or alcohol. No, some people are going to be legitimately homeless because they won't be able to make their rent, their mortgage payment, even with that $1,200 check. So, that in mind, I'm going to tell you about what I've had to resort to doing. And for educational purpose, disclaimer real quick, for educational purposes, I don't encourage you to break the law when not necessary. But at some point, some of this may be unavoidable. So, here we go. First of all, if you've got money, if you've got a source of income, if you're living out your car, whatever, or you've got some income, but you don't have enough to make rent payment. Here's what you do. You're going to have, like it or not, you're going to have to live on the street. And this involves urban camping. Okay? So, some things to look at. And you might have to change your address. For the time being, though, if you can't buy stuff out of a retail store, thrift store you can't find, there's always Amazon. Use the lockers at the convenience store. The nearest ones to you. Might not get there on time with all the COVID crap, but okay, it's better than nothing. Just know when to get there. If you can't claim it, don't worry. They will refund your money if the item isn't claimed within 3 days. Second of all, keep your hotel stays to a minimum. Depending on your income, maybe 2 or 3 a month. If you can squeeze it 4. Keep in mind, you're probably going to be on food stamps. Do not go to the 3 or 4 star places. You're going to hemorrhage money. Get the 1 or 2 star because you're going to be using the hotel specifically for showering, hygiene, a temporary place to sleep overnight because it's not going to be a permanent thing, and a chance to recharge all your electronics, battery charge. That brings us to our next thing. Okay, bare essentials. Cell phone with a data, and unlimited plan if you can. I've seen those pay ones. Sometimes they cost more than the actual what a carrier would charge you regardless. But those Obama phones, they're incredibly fragile. Those are just to get you started. And the minutes and data don't last forever. And keep anything of value close on your person at all times. Especially in, certain places of Phoenix, like there's parks with black neighborhoods. Okay? Cortez Park, for example, in the Phoenix area, off of 35th and Dunlap. Don't camp there maybe twice a night if you're lucky. You'll get lucky because I've seen people, other homeless, who have drug problems, who to finance themselves, will steal from other homeless people. They will try and, like in Diablo, they'll loot your body and they might just, kill you and throw you in the canal. They'll rob you while you're sleeping. So you need to be aware of that. Now, when as far as supplies go, phone, battery banks, invest in a solar charger. Not a solar battery bank, a solar charger. Take 2 or 3 hours to recharge your phone. Especially one that gives that converts to that does 14 watts, converts 23 to 25% of the solar power into electricity. Hopefully it'll charge your phone with 3 hours. If you can't, right now with COVID-19, all the libraries are closed. It's where homeless people sometimes go to either sleep during the daytime. Unfortunately, security guards might wake you and kick you out for the day. But it's also where you go to charge your electronics. But get a solar charger if you can afford it. They're like $40, $50 depending on the model. Get a duffel bag. To fit your clothes in. all your basic essentials. Your sleeping bag, depending on how many people you have with your spouse. Sleeping bag for yourself, and a 3 or 4 man tent, and at least 2 blankets. In the desert here, it does get cold at night. Just because it's summertime doesn't mean it doesn't cool down. The temperature doesn't drop during the nighttime. It does get into the 50s, believe it or not. So, now, all you video game players out there, all those stealth games you played, like Thief, Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, etc. Okay, those stealth tactics, you're going to have to utilize them real soon. Okay? Because when you're urban camping, chances are you're either camping on someone's property or an abandoned, even if it's an abandoned lot with no trespassing sign, chances are it's private property. So don't make the stay there permanent. You're going to have to find spots to move. Never camp in the same place more than twice a fortnight. You're lucky if that. Might last only one night. Public parks. Right now, I mean, you can go there during the daytime. You can lay down. Some places might prevent you from camping at night. Yeah, might want to do that when the rangers leave for the night. But be prepared to leave before they come in the daytime. So, yeah, might want to set an alarm clock. Keep your cell phone used to a minimum. Don't waste your battery on stupid stuff. Keep it off when you're not using it. Conserve your battery. Yeah, you're going to be camping at night. The panhandling stuff, that'll only work for so long. Stay away from the drugs and the alcohol. Okay, go to a recovery center if you got to find a place to sleep. Maybe they'll help you out. Go in there voluntarily. Say you need help. That may buy you a month, depending on your state-sponsored insurance or whatever. But it's temporary, and you won't be able to do much stuff. Also, bear in mind, in Arizona, if you're on the street, you're actually considered severely mentally ill, even though you're not crazy. Need to throw that in there. Now, like I said, as far as camping, avoid places with no trespassing signs. Okay? Avoid places with trespassing signs. Do it. Okay? Don't risk it. Because, whether or not the sign's posted, okay. The cop will, the cop might arrest you on the spot, might give you a warning, might ask you to leave. Comply. Be polite. You can explain to him your situation, okay, but avoid the no trespassing signs at all costs. That will land you, depending on what state you reside in, a misdemeanor charges. That's going to add more to your legal problems. Avoid camping near the railroad tracks if you can. That's considered federal property. Most railroad companies will press charges against you for trespassing. Most cops will automatically charge you and arrest you right there. Yeah. If you're going to camp, conceal your encampment. This concealment is key, especially if you have a tent. Don't tell anybody that you don't know, even if you just met these people where you camp. Don't pay, and you got to get to know some people on the street. You're going to make friends. You're going to lose friends as you go along. Okay? If somebody, says they need money for something or like that, $2 or $3 or whatever, and they ask for 20, don't give them $20. Okay? Don't finance their tobacco or alcohol habit. And don't ever let anybody know you have money, or an income. Because then the junkie homeless, there's two kinds of homeless. There's park homeless and there's street homeless. The street homeless, they're on the street and they don't want to go to a shelter because they've got the drug habits. Okay, that's one of the rules. With shelters and sober living. Also, if you're going to camp in a public area, be mindful of a 2015 U.S. Ninth Circuit Court decision that came out. Basically, some homeless people of Boise, Idaho sued homeless residents of Boise, Idaho sued the city. Okay, the city tried to appeal, but basically the decision reads: if the city does not provide a reasonable shelter structure alternative, they cannot ban you. They cannot arrest you. Police cannot arrest you or ban you from camping in public if they do not provide a shelter alternative. At this point, with COVID-19, most of the shelters, halfway houses, recovery homes, etc., are not taking any new takes until this thing blows over. Even then, the shelter thing is only temporary. Try to find affordable housing if you can. Affordable low-income housing. Go to HUD housing. I will tell you though, it's not going to happen overnight like a snap of a finger like you think it is. A lot of a lot of people at 40 and up have this misconception that, oh, this is gonna, I'll be off the street free. No. It can take months if you're lucky. It can take years. I know a Marine Corps vet. We'll just use his first name, Bob. He's in his late 50s. He lives in his van or sleeps in a sleeping bag and feeds his cat. He goes to the work hall, the temp agency. And he's been waiting for affordable housing for years. He's a Marine Corps veteran. They passed him up for a heroin addict. So at this point, it's safe to say affordable housing only opens up when there's something, when somebody dies of old age or drug overdose. Because it's usually reserved for like people and their senior people or in drug addicts and SMI people or people on SSI or whatever. They take like 1/3 of your income usually. Avoid halfway houses that want money. Think about it. Okay, in Arizona, making money off the homeless has become a business model and a racket. You're stuck. Okay, because a lot of these halfway houses, they want over $640 a month, and sometimes they want it weekly. And you're paid at most bi-weekly, and if you don't have the coin, they kick you out. And sometimes they ask you to pay for the utilities. So essentially, you end up in indentured servitude, and you're working for them. Yeah. Parks, green areas, in some areas you might have to sleep on the sidewalks. As you're walking about a city, like be it Tempe, Scottsdale, utilize Google Maps if you can. But also be mindful. You're going to have to develop some situational awareness as well. Okay, if you're going to chance trying to camp out behind a transformer box, or something like that, or an alley behind a store, okay. But once again, look for the no trespassing signs, and also be aware of the cameras. Do not do anything. Don't crap in the street. If there's a construction site with access to a porta-john, and there's no public bathrooms or stores open to use public bathrooms in, use the porta-john. Okay? Don't crap in the street or urinate. You do not want that. Okay? That's only going to make your situation look worse. It's going to look bad on you. It's going to look bad on everybody else. And plus, the cops may use that to also track your whereabouts and your location. It's like, okay, plus they can, in this day and age, they can also use your urine and your waste to identify your DNA. So, if they really want to make the effort. If someone does see your situation, does want to help you out, and they let you stay there, okay, get that, make sure you have some paper and a pen handy. And make sure, and if they do offer you and let you stay there just not to make a mess or cause a scene or anything, okay, fine. But get it in writing. Get it in writing, make sure they sign it right then and there. Because, okay, if they let you stay there, let's say a cop comes by and sees you camping there, then he's going to try and, he or she is going to try and trespass you. Just show them a piece of paper that says, hey, see, little paper says, the property owner has allowed me to stay here. Okay, they can't do anything. They'll get back in their car and they'll move on because the property owner has allowed you to stay there. Some businesses might work out an arrangement for you to work under the counter or be a night watchman to keep the less law-abiding homeless out. I mean, I know a guy I met a guy in Mesa who's in his 40s or 50s. He's got cancer. He runs a little bit of a security company. He'll watch the restaurant for people. You pay him. He gets a plate. He stands watches overnight, sleeps during the daytime. You can sleep during the parks in the daytime, but at night you're taking a risk if you camp there because then you risk encountering police and park rangers. Even though that no shelter's alternative, they'll just, some of them don't get it. They're just like Schultz, they're following orders. Have an extra change of clothes and socks and underwear because especially, you don't know. You don't know when your next hotel visit is. You don't know. You're walking around in the dark. Every Saturday, some places that have churches might offer, a place where they take care of the homeless like once or twice a month or whatever. Okay, take advantage of that. And hopefully this isn't a forever thing. I've known some people who've been begging for change on the street or whatever. I've known people, I've known veterans, I've known regular people, married couples that have been on the street for decades. One guy's been homeless for 30 years. Also speak up for yourself. Go to City Hall when they reopen. Go make a case. Hey, because here's the truth, and here's what I've heard from many cops in many cities. The shelter situation in Arizona especially sucks. And the reason why no new shelters get put up or get closed down is because snooty city councilmen don't like the idea of having a homeless shelter, or a facility like that in their district. It makes their district look bad. It makes them look bad. Well, guess what, guys? Whether you like it or not, okay, you can't sweep. It's going to get so bad to the point, if it isn't already, that you can't look good and you can't sweep this problem under the rug. Where are you going to put them? You can't put them in jail. You can't run them off to the next town and have them deal with it. That's sadly the tactic of most of the cities. Also, a lot of things. A big problem in Arizona is every other town wants to either herd you off or send you to the central homeless shelter in Phoenix, which is a bad idea in the very, very beginning. Okay, let's do some numbers here. As of 2015, there's over 25,000 homeless people. There's less than 1,400 that are housed. Now, this CAS place where they want to send you, it only has 450 beds. After that, it's full. They got to turn people away. Though they'll let people camp on the lot, on the blocks surrounding them, but they won't give them any porta johns. They won't offer any shower facilities. And supposedly, according to a Hispanic ex-con homeless, there's a black guy who runs all the stuff outside of CAS, hookers, drugs, you name it. He wants to cut the action. If he finds out you're about money, oh yeah, you're in big trouble. But yeah, learn to make friends, and make friends that don't have a drug habit. Another place to camp where they don't. Avoid abandoned buildings if you can. Okay, as appealing as the abandoned building is in Arizona, if you get caught camping in housing in an abandoned building by the police, you can get a felony charge now. Also, don't rely on the shopping cart system too much. Okay, go to Walmart and get a foldable wagon for like $76 if you got to haul your bag, or if you got a big bag and you got to haul around. Okay, that way they can't cite you for the shopping cart theft law, and you can carry the wagon on the bus. You can also pack it in your tent, your hotel room, and the park. That will do wonders for you. Also, if you're, keep the tent not just for yourself, but also keep your belongings in it, because sadly, some other homeless, especially drug addicts, will steal from your camp. They'll do it as a way to intimidate you, or they want to steal your stuff because they think it has value. They think you have something of value or money in there or something like that. Keep all your valuables on your person. Okay. Um, one guy claimed he found my jacket. Then, I'm like, where'd you get that? Be lawfully mindful. Other places you can camp. You're not gonna like this, but you're gonna have to get used to it. Along the highway. Avoid the no trespassing signs. Like you can find an easement to where the state doesn't go on, doesn't state cops won't bug you because the land is in between. Between state-owned property and federal-owned property or whatever, it's an easement. Generally police won't bug you there. And sleep in the shade. Conceal yourself. The other thing too, also be mindful if you do not have a solar charger, it's going to be difficult to find places in certain towns where there's outside electrical outlets. Some of them exist. Some, like in some parking lots, like I buy a transformer box from the back of a shopping center or something. Some you might get lucky; they may have an electrical outlet because all the restaurants are closed, all the library closed. You might get lucky at a park or an art center or something like that. Just don't make a habit of doing it out in the open, and don't do it for long, because police can also cite you for stealing public utilities as well. That's, sometimes you may have to call 911. Although if you're severely mentally ill, or if you get marked SMI and put on court treatment anyway, you can't carry weapons. So you may you might have to spoil the show. You might have to threaten to call the cops. I've had to do that maybe once or twice. Only because a meth addict went around and he threatened to kill me. Film everything. Get a card, get cards on your, get micro SD cards if you can afford them. Don't, film it. That way, if someone goes nuts and assaults you or whatever, you can show the cop, hey, this is what happened. You get more than your word behind you. If it comes to that. And put it on YouTube. People want to see that. Real people want to see this. And it's time you show them. Okay? This is an epidemic. Okay? With globalism and with the central bank flooding the world with money, all the inflation, most Democrat cities with high taxation and stuff. I'll tell you right now, in the Phoenix area alone, let's see what cities tax you on groceries. Yeah, even if you got food stamps or you pay for them, they charge 15% 15-cent grocery tax on your groceries. Yeah, poor tax. Scottsdale does it. Chandler does it. Glendale does it. Avondale, Phoenix. Notice how most of these places are run by Democrats too. Side point. But yeah, so yeah, you don't camp for like more than twice a day in the same spot. You usually keep to once a day. If you're gonna, you're gonna have to get used to moving around whether you like that or not. And ladies, ladies and gentlemen, if you smoke, sorry, you're not going to be able to afford those Marlboro 100s that cost $12 a pack. No, you're going to be resorting to rolling tobacco. Make a point to quit. Because if you do the math, that's $200. That's $200 of money you won't always have. Okay? And then like half these people who are on drugs or whatever, they're doing the fentanyl, sadly. I've seen veterans get to fentanyl, and because they used to be on heroin, they couldn't afford the heroin or whatever, was screwing them up. And then they're having withdrawals, like where their whole body aches. Some of them are trying to resort to, one of them who's a former Army Ranger I met, was trying to resort to holistic methods to cure himself of it. But yeah, um, yeah, stay away from the fentanyl. I've seen a guy die in a park of an overdose. I've seen what the fentanyl does. It's not pretty. Okay, they flatlined him. Time of death. The police were there for at least 5 hours. Waiting for the coroner. Setting the crime scene up and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I've seen some nasty stuff happen in parks. Make it a point to get out the street, but like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. That's the reality. It can take you. It could take. If you're fast enough, it'll take months. It'll most likely take years. Okay. I am not on. I'm going to. I'm not on the street because of drugs or alcohol or being mentally ill. No, no, no. I'm on the street because I was a law-abiding gun owner, and my parents were libtards, and they thought they could turn their house into a gun-free zone. Well, you know what? I kind of have to laugh at this point because I bet they wish they had the weapons right now sealed up in their houses. Okay, if it should be a no-brainer that if you're going to hoard and be a prepper and store tons of food, or you're Mormon or whatever, you got to have the means to defend your your supplies. Because the cops ain't going to do it for you. No, the cops do not have a duty to protect the general public. Seriously, look it up. There's been multiple court cases. Even those crazy no-gun students from Stoneman Douglas High School thought they were thought they were in the custody of the police and thought that was their job to protect them. Okay, multiple courts have ruled the police do not have a duty to protect the general public outside of them being ordered to protect you. No, an order of protection or a restraining order does not do that. That's only reserved for politicians. No, the only other alternative is when they're required to protect you is when you're in their custody, you've lost your freedom, and you're going to jail, prison, or a mental institution. That's it. They don't have a duty to protect you. You can be attacked, you can be raped, and they can choose to just sit there and watch and not intervene. That's a reality. Okay, I've seen it. Even normal folk who are not on the street, they'll attack homeless women. They'll accuse them of stealing a bike when they're not. It doesn't get pretty. I mean, it's not pretty. You might have to learn, you're going to have to learn to use the laundromat, act casual. Don't draw attention to yourself. Don't be a nuisance. Don't go around yelling, screaming, and demand someone buy you cigarettes. Okay, that's going to draw attention to yourself. And eventually, that's going to draw the cops' attention on you. Then they can charge you for being a public nuisance or disturbing the peace. So yeah, if you are camping in a public area, again, tell the cops, I tried to get into a shelter. There's no shelter alternative. You can't ban me from sleeping in public because it constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. That's the 2015 Ninth Circuit Court ruling. Look it up. AZ Central covered it. Always practice good hygiene. Okay? And your diet, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to break this to you. You're not always going to be able to get what you want. You're going to be shopping at food stamps. You're going to be shopping at the bare minimum, the clearance stuff. And know your system. Know what does and doesn't, give you the runs. And try not to eat too much after dinner. Because let's say you have a good meal. Okay, if you're renting a hotel for night, okay, enjoy yourself, get a decent meal, but you can eat too much and splurge there, because then at least you have a bathroom immediately available. You can go take a dump in or whatever, and you got toilet paper. Okay, if you're on the street, don't eat too much after. Don't eat too much for dinner. Because chances are, if your system processes waste quickly or whatever, or your you're going to get gashed or something like that, you're going to have accidents. You may have accidents, and you're not always going to be near a bathroom. Okay? Let's say that, you can't, even if you camp near, right outside a grocery store, that grocery store is not going to open until 9 o'clock. So you're going to have to hold it. Yeah, I know it sounds uncomfortable, but that's reality. I mean, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I've learned some things from people, but that's just the way. That's the reality. That's reality. Okay, there's not always going to be a homeless shelter with a bed available. Good luck. You'll be lucky if that's the case. And then even then, some shelters do not. It's not a permanent thing. Some of them want you to go work. What if you do if you're on a disability check and you're limited amount to work 20 hours? You're kind of screwed after that. I'm stuck in that catch-22. I'm on SSI or SSD or whatever. I can't. I'm lucky. I can only work maybe 12, 15, maybe 20 hours. But most of these places that want you to work a full week away. Which begs me to my next question. Okay, some of these people are going to have to change their policies, because with the current stimulus checks and with over 17 million people filing for unemployment, okay, job hunting just got that much harder. And you don't always have online access to that too. Okay? You don't always have online access. Right now, the libraries are shut down. That's usually the best place to go job hunting. Try not to get yourself banned from the. I've had that happen to me once. They'll ban you for life if you cause a scene or if you act out. I mean, some of these places you wonder, like St. Vincent de Paul, they'll ban you for life for stupid crap. You mean, like, I know, like, again, they banned my friend Bob because he made some comments to the security guard after he was done loading the truck, after he was done helping them. I mean, some of these people need, staff, they'll ban you for the stupid reason. Okay, I can understand if you threaten their life, if you act out, you go through some sort of psychosis, I can see that. Or if you fight. If you're going to do all that stuff, keep it off of these places if you can, please. Go keep that stuff on the street. Granted, the people with the drug problems who are on meth and the fentanyl, when aggressive, super aggressive, some of these people are going to want you to join a gang. Or want you to join their little club or their gang. Sometimes you're a loner. Sometimes you're independent. I mean, like, half the people on the street, because of the way I conduct myself, that I do not engage in substance abuse, I don't do the drugs or smoke the cigarettes. Half the people, ironically, think I'm a cop, think I'm an undercover cop, or think I work for the federal government, which I don't. Hey, Trump, you want to give me a job with this? Oh, no, I would need a lot to get back on my feet. I need my driver's license. I need clearance from a neurologist because I have a seizure disorder, among other medical problems. It's not exactly, it's not exactly that easy for me. Oh no, my pit, And this has the lesson to make. You got to stretch your money. You've got to stretch, even if you're on a fixed income, even if you have that, you learn to stretch your money. Learn to budget your money. Okay, you might have to go a couple nights without eating or starving. I understand that. But I would also suggest that you develop a survival mindset. Okay? I've been arrested for stupid stuff. I had to do some time in jail. And I've also had to spend 30 days in the mental institution, because even the police will lie and say you're hearing voices in your head when you aren't. They do that just to throw you in the mental institution to get you off the street, which is stupid. And then they'll put you on forced drug and alcohol treatment even though you're not crazy. And the shrinks reevaluating after they put me on COT and said, hey, wait a minute, you're not paranoid schizophrenic. You don't have a mental disorder. No kidding, Sherlock. I've been trying to tell you that. But they'll do it anyway. See, that's also part of the scam around too. Big pharma. the mental health system. Sometimes they're still using drugs that have multiple lawsuits against them, and they haven't taken them off the market, and these mental facilities are still using them, i.e., risperidone or risperidol that gives you man boobs, makes your male nipple squirt. Dexter, um, Haldol, which they shouldn't be using anymore. All it does is eat your nerve endings in your nervous system too. They're rotten. Yep, a lot of the big street stuff on the street that you see drug addicts using, it's mostly heroin, crystal, crystal methamphetamine, or the super refined stuff known as glass, or which is hyper refined um, crystal meth. You want to stay away from that stuff. I mean, I've seen meth addicts in the psych ward. I mean, in jail. I mean, like, it fries their brain. They can barely talk sometimes. Um, you can tell with some of the track marks or injection marks on their arms, or where like they have like no muscle or no fat on their arms or their skin or body. It's all shriveled up, caves their face in. Um, and it's the black tar heroin. They'll do that if they got money. Sometimes they'll do it to stay up. Oh, one thing: if you're doing a hotel, do not make sure if you're going in with a friend, you go in with a friend. Do not let anybody in after 11 o'clock at night, because a lot of these hotels, they have security cameras. They also have security guards too. Same with hospitals. Okay. Um, they don't let your lady friend in at 11 o'clock if she didn't sign in with you. Okay, that in some chains like Motel 6 um, can get you put on what's known as their do not rent list. And you don't want that, because you don't get just banned from that one Motel 6. No, you get banned from all the locations in the entire chain. Period. Forever. Okay? Gotta be aware of the surveillance at all times. I just camped out in a secluded lot not too far from behind a hospital. Some employee saw me. They called the security. So they called me. It's like, okay, I explain my situation. They'll give you 30 minutes to pack up and move your stuff, which you should. I mean, like, because after that they'll just call the cops and have you, trespass from the area. It's a funny thing too about certain security guards. Make an agreement with them. Okay, if you need to charge your stuff at night, do it, but don't make a scene. Try to stay hidden. Again, shopping malls, high-end shopping malls, um, the hospitals, courthouses, any public buildings, and hotels, they all have security cameras. Big Brother's watching. Okay? Be mindful of the surveillance. If you can see the camera, chances are it can see you. It's kind of obvious. Stay out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind. Concealment is everything. And here's a no-brainer. If you don't have rubbers or whatever, don't have sex on the street. First of all, if you're caught urinating in public, if you're caught having sex in public on the street or in a park or something like that, you'll get a sex offender. Chances are you're going to get a sex offender charge for indecent exposure. I mean, come on. Especially in Pennsylvania and Arizona. Oh, no. Yeah, in Pennsylvania, if you got caught urinating in public, you get a sex offender charge. Boom, automatically. Okay. Then you go on Megan's Law, and your whole life gets even worse from there. Because then you're doing like 15, 25 years in prison. Then when you get out, you got to register on the sex offender registry with the state police every 30 days. You can't be near places that have children. You got to notify the Pennsylvania State Police every time you move, whether or not you get a job, even whether or not you want to leave the state. And you got to re-up with them every 30 days. Yeah, that's the Megan's Law sex offender law in Pennsylvania. And your employment options, Not good. So, yeah, I mean, baby boomer generation, by the way, that Social Security payday, nowadays, it's not going to pay your bills. You're going to have to go, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to find roommates. Okay? Like rent around here in some parts, just to rent a room at someone's house costs over $800. Your budget can't cover that. That'll eat more than your whole check. You can't afford it. Some apartments now cost over $1,600 in the Phoenix area. Yeah, Arizona is not a cheap place to live anymore. Sadly. Because all the people from California who've wrecked their state with their fiercely Democratic policy, their Democrat-run policies have made everything super expensive, super taxed. And now they're on the street and they're coming here and they're coming to Vegas, they're going to Texas or whatever. Okay, another thing you don't do. If you have a drug problem, don't shoot up in the bathroom, okay? A lot of towns now, a lot of restaurants will say no public restroom. At this point during COVID-19, your best bet to use the restroom is the grocery store. Maybe the Quick Trip. Okay, you don't necessarily have to buy something, but go in there, do your business, wash your hands, and don't make a mess of the place. Okay, leave the place better than you left it. Okay, people, maybe the truck stop. Don't ruin it for everybody. Don't ruin it for yourself. Okay. Don't do drugs. That's why people ban public restrooms, is because the drug addicts and the drug addicts / junkies, they've ruined it for everybody and themselves because they're stupid enough and arrogant enough to think they won't get caught shooting up heroin, shooting up meth, doing that in the bathroom or in the grocery store bathroom. I mean, you're scaring employees. You're making store personnel and companies hostile toward your position. It's not going to help. You might get lucky on some outlets, but like I said, that's why you buy the solar charger, so you don't have to do that anymore.